In today's video, we examine the recent new law, looking at the temples of the Lord of the Flies. It's been too long, friends, so welcome back to the trenches and let's begin. Beelzebub's war against creation is not only fought with weapons to compete with the missionary zeal of his father's servants. The Lord of the Flies has issued a defiant challenge to the churches, temples and mosques of his hated enemies who dare to deny his claim to the throne of the universe. In few places is this spiritual war as evident as in the hinterlands of Avignon, the city conquered by the Black Grail in 1429. France is the first daughter of the church after all, and Beelzebub is determined to claim it as his prize despite his despised progenitor. Though his armies failed during the Corpse Wars, the Lord of the Flies now sees another path to bring the ancient lands of Gaul under the shadow of his wings, though the siren lure of his missionaries marching forth from his stronghold in Avignon. The Black Grail strain of the Antipope of Avignon is infamous for infecting the mind as well as the body. The missionary bands of the cult of the Black Grail creep into villages, towns and farmsteads in the cover of night, and then set about winning new converts. Combined with the hypnotic charisma of the missionaries, the lure of the cult is almost irresistible to all but the most strong-willed. The sweet music played by Grail thralls and hallucinogenic incense wafting from these censers, carried by the plague albaders, combine into a intoxicating and seductive poison. This poison beds the mortal minds until it gives up and follows the joyous cavalcade of the Grail to one of the many hidden temples blighting the lands. While officially the Antipope of Avignon preaches that his mission is peaceful and that he only wishes to convert the willing to follow Baal of the Flies, the cartographers of Paris have noted a disturbing trend. Each year it seems that the malignant influence of Avignon creeps ever onwards. Even if by just a few hundred feet, there always seems to be a new temple of the fly in a hidden valley or forest clearing, which was free of the taint the year before. Even worse, sometimes these hidden sanctuaries are found far from Avignon. Some have been found in the lands of the Sultanate of the Iron Wall. Disguised as bribes and hallucinogenic powers can carry the missionaries far and wide. The ceremonies of the Antipope preach that Beelzebub, the Lord of Rot, makes the land under his rule abundant and bountiful, with rich crops and pastures, teeming with life like flies swarming to fresh carrion. Hunger is an ever-present shadow in the lives of people living through the Great War, and the lands near Avignon do indeed seem to be far more fertile than anywhere else in Europe. Thus, vast numbers of farmers, cattle ranchers, and many others, made desperate by poverty and hunger, are drawn to the area in search of means to feed their families. Each year, the cult of the Black Grail celebrates the malting of their lord. This brings about a frenzy of building and raising of temples in the hinterlands of Avignon and beyond, as the Order of the Fly and the faithful vie for spiritual supremacy. The Marian processions, who favour the usage of fire, are known to take an active role in these battles. Their gas masks offer rudimentary protection against the noxious fumes that surround the most vile of temples. And put simply, a Marian procession is when, within the religion of the Catholic Church, many people gather together to celebrate a religious event. Normally this will be accompanied by an image of the Virgin Mary. Every temple of the fly acts as a base of operations for one of the missionary offspring of the Antipope. Each structure is unique, reflecting the temperament and personality of the missionary in charge. They are often decorated with stone statues of saints or great icons taken as prizes from churches, such as a gigantic golden temple, menorahs, or elaborate minarets. These familiar symbols lull many who come to the temple into a false sense of familiarity and security. A closer inspection will reveal that each such edifice has been corrupted, defaced, and fouled by the cult, often subtly, but always irreversibly. They reflect Beelzebub's glee and joy when one of the creations of his father willingly chooses his rotting splendour, instead of the meek salvation offered by the faithful. To touch on the concept of the Antipope itself, he has been mentioned in the law previously. In the Missionaries of the Black Grail law, we are told, In a mockery of the papal throne of Rome, the cult declared the opening of a cathedral of Beelzebub in the great palace of the once beautiful city of Avignon, issuing a direct challenge to the Bishop of Rome for the spiritual leadership of the continent. The traitorous cardinal now declared himself the antipope, and since that dark day he has sat on the seat, drowning in endless ceremonies to warped congregation flies, untold billions strong. And of course, anything that inverts and mocks the power of God gives power to the court, so the antipope does that job pretty well. As with much of Beelzebub's doctrine returning to this new law, the appearance of the temples of the fly are deceptive, usually featuring only a small structure above the ground to avoid detection. However, their humble appearance often hides an extensive underground maze of laboratories, weapons caches, breeding pens, treasure troves of gold for bribing corrupt officials, fetid, fermenting pockets filled with sloshing matter infected by the Black Grail to increase its potency, scriptoriums for the gospel of the fly, galleries of art grown from tumours, pools of liquefied living humans, and workshops where new weapons are forged and infected by life-hating parasites. All those who come to a temple are doomed. Once you enter the gates, there is no hope of returning to your old life. Once the sadistic oblates of the cult lay their hands and proboscis mouthparts onto your flesh, the Black Grail has you for all eternity. For whereas normal victims infected with the Black Grail may hope for the salvation of their soul once their body perishes in combat, those who come to Beelzebub's fold willingly can expect no such grace. To remove any trace of their old allegiances, the new members of the cult are subjected to partial lobotomy, trephination, that is the drilling into the skull, and brain injections concocted in the laboratories of the vile transmutators of Beelzebub. Others are subjected to shocks to their nerves, so violent they provoke thrashing convulsions that are quite literally back-breaking, leaving victims like broken ragdolls crawling on the floors of Beelzebub's temples in a state of agony and ecstasy. Everyone has a role in the Order of the Fly, and all are welcome. Most are simply infected with the Black Grail and join the many hordes of the thralls. Others are taken to the underground breeding pens or into warm, moist incubation grounds, where the enthralled lay down willingly to rot so that the heralds of Beelzebub can lay their eggs on their decomposing bodies, creating new winged horrors to darken the skies. But the most charismatic, intelligent and devout are sent to Avignon to become members of the clergy of the Fly, eventually going forth as part of Beelzebub's missionary bands, gathering the faithful and strengthening his hold on earth. So let me know what you think to this law, and let's hope we get a more regular release from here on out. I appreciate the guys are making the models and doing all that good stuff, but a couple of months will be amazing. Anyway, let's see what happens. Hope you enjoyed the video. Drop me a comment down below if you've got what to discuss. And yes, I have a cold and my voice is a little not great, but I wanted to put this out, so here we are.